Hey, what
Before the new
impact on
year.
democracy and on our credibility is caused by a president who just keeps repeating a lie that, and a press secretary that echoes a lie that 4.5 million people voted illegally in the last election with zero evidence.
I think what it is that that it is a terrible, misguided thing that he's doing. But my point is this: the check and balance has to be people, the will of the people. We are what keeps a democracy going. The Constitution is a piece of paper.
Yeah.
The social contract that I used to teach my students about the first day of 11th grade government class, we cede some of our power, our individual power, to have a government that protects us and that educates us. We don't cede our freedoms, and ultimately, or we don't cede our, we don't cede our freedom to speak, and we don't cede the responsibility to expect a government to actually be transparent with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And the lying of the government, we've never seen this before in our democracy. But it is not about complaining. It is about being the check and balance. We know that's true now. We have to support and protect a free media, regardless of what it says. And we have to actually be like the Women's March was. There's never been a protest that large ever in the United States. That is the check and balance of democracy. And so, in some ways, citizens all across the country are going to have to be that check and balance, because that is the only thing that when a president doesn't want to take the responsibility that we can't say she yet, but he or she is sworn
Right.
to take, then the check and balance is the people.
Right. Now, we saw, I believe, on Saturday that the people are ready for that role. We saw it not just here in Washington, where you and I were, but all across the country. Sherry Bustos was here from Illinois earlier. 250,000 people showed up in Chicago. How do we keep that energy and that movement going, if
Well,
you will?
the most important way, and I know it's far away, is Election Day. The most important way is Election Day. But what happens is
2018,
well,
right?
there
Not
are
20
lots of elections in 2017 for a
thank
school
you,
board,
right.
for city council, there's 2 governor elections.
Virginia and New Jersey?
That's
Yep.
the most important way. But I think that there are a lot of campaigns that one can do to actually move and change policy. One, to try to keep the freedoms we have. I mean, I'm not. There's a reason that Donald Trump is president, and that is because people felt that that the jobs that we need in America were not in America. Good paying jobs, things that you and I have talked about how many times on this show, and you
Right.
probably talk about every single day. This is what Democrats since Franklin Roosevelt have championed over and over and over again. And what happened is that more people saw Trump as a champion for that than Hillary. But you have to look at everything he does, or everything that's done in the states, through, I think, 2 lenses. Not who is doing it, but what is happening. Are we creating an economy that works for all? How are we addressing automation, which is, in this generation, the real culprit for job loss? Not just globalization, not just deindustrialization, but if you set up a new manufacturing plant and you only have 5 people working because everything
And
else is robots,
I was gonna say,
that's
and
not going to
100
help.
robots,
yeah,
right,
that's
yeah.
not going to help create a living wage for Americans throughout the country. Second, and this goes, how do we create how do we keep our freedoms? Because that is the hallmark of America, to keep freedoms as we focus on opportunity. Opportunity and justice go hand in hand. They are not against each other. They go hand in hand. A country that is inclusive and tolerant is a country that grows in the 21st century. And in some ways, that gets to Betsy DeVos, because DeVos essentially, look, she proved at her hearing And I'm glad the Democrats asked for more time because she didn't answer the questions. And maybe she would get more prepared. But she proved at her hearing how unqualified and how, frankly, ill-prepared she was. Because either she didn't want to answer the questions or she didn't know how to answer the questions. And what we know from her experience in Michigan, and Michael Moore said this too, look, he's Mr. Michigan, is that she's actually hurt students' outcomes. She's hurt students in Michigan, and not just the students that go to public schools, which she is overtly hostile to, but students who go to the places that she has actually
even to
advocated.
her private or charter schools,
and,
right?
And what she's done is she's advocated in this way, the Massachusetts Charter School Association. Many charter school advocates, including Cora Booker, have said ixnay to Betsy DeVos, have said no to Betsy DeVos, because what she's advocated for is profit over children. So she uses the idea of choice. The choice is the school's choice, not the parent's choice. But one more time, she uses an argument that tries to get to grievance to actually push an agenda, and her agenda is for-profit charter schools, for-profit mechanisms that destabilize, defund public education. And on the for-profit schools, 84% of the for-profit charters, or 84% of the kids in charters in Detroit are under proficiency in math, and 80% of the kids in charters in English are under proficiency. Yes, 80% of the charters in Michigan are for-profit. So what I'm saying is, don't tell us, there's been 25 years of experience. If something can work better than what we're doing, we better do it. I mean, Shanker had this view that let's use charters as an incubator. And I run a charter in New York City, a not-for-profit charter that is unionized, that has a 100% graduation rate. So, you need to have ideas that you can bring to the public schools that actually will help make every neighborhood school a great school, to make sure that parents have a great neighborhood school as a viable choice. But what she is overtly hostile to that side. She's overtly hostile to public and wants to have a private system and a system of religious schools and a system that does virtual schools like K-12 Inc. has done miserably, and on and on.